She's a large vessel with a single-masted sail, with a mast rising like a giant redwood from the center of the deck, high into the sky. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Her snow-white sail is filled by the breath of God and reflects His light onto the dark waters below, revealing the lost and dying, struggling in sin's cold waters. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Her captain is the master of the seas, and he built this grand soul-saving ship with his own hands. His body, his feet, his hands, and his side bear the scars of his labor. Though a grand, large vessel she is, he built her from only a small cross-shaped piece of wood. Now, there are those who would say, how can this be, to build such a grand vessel out of one little small piece of wood? But you see, that's something else about the captain of this grand vessel. Not only is he the master of the seas, but whatever is laid in his hands, he is always able to make it meet the needs. Once when he walked the shores of Galilee, he chose a handful of men, and in 3.5 years trained them such that they went forth to turn the world upside down. Once again, he took a small basket of bread and fish, and in his hands it fed a multitude, and there was left over. Even with age, this great vessel still rides high in the waters, cutting like a knife through sin's treacherous waves that would try to sink and destroy her. Can you see her? The treacherous seas are no match for the great captain and the great ship. He steers her true and steady. Can you see her? Turn to Luke 8. Luke chapter 8. I want to get into it a little bit now. Luke chapter 8, 5 through 8. And I need to read this before I go home. A sower went out to sow the seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trodden down, and the fowls of the air devoured it. And some fell upon a rock, and as soon as it was sprung up, it withered away, because it lacked moisture. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up with it and choked it. And other fell on good ground, and sprung up, and bare fruit 100-fold. As I mentioned earlier, you and I, are deckhands on this grand vessel, each throwing out a lifeline to those perishing in sin's waters below. Can you see her? This great ship, snow-white sail, reflecting on the waters down below, lighting it up, seeing all those that are lost in sin's waters. There's some in the water now. We throw out a lifeline. Ahoy there! Take hold of the line. We'll pull you to safety. No, don't let go. Captain, they're letting go. Should we go in sin's water after them? No. They have to decide for themselves. Yeah. No, don't swim away. Hold fast.
Jesus.
We can see them as they swim off into the darkness.
Yes.
And we can't see them anymore. What can I do, Captain? There's nothing I can do. All we can do is throw the lifeline out. They have to take hold fast to it. They have to decide for themselves.
Jesus.
As I said, we throw out the lifeline. Mm-hmm. Those that take hold and hold fast are pulled aboard to safety. Some sit on the deck. Others desire to share their newfound peace and become deckhands themselves, throwing lifelines to friends or loved ones who still remain in sin's waters below. Sometimes you can hear the captain himself calling to the lost in the waters below. Some answer the call, taking hold of the lifeline, while others ignore his plea and perish beneath the waves. We look, there are so many in the water. So many that need saving. Captain, we need all hands on deck. There's so many in the water. There's not enough of us, Captain. Call all hands on deck. All hands are on deck. But what about those sitting there, Lord? They don't want to get involved? Jesus. Can't you make them? No. Jesus. You can't force and won't force anyone. You have to have a desire to work, to do something, to be willing to allow God to use you. And we must all do our part. And no part is too small. I want you to listen to some of the excuses in Scripture.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 1:56. You don't have to turn there. Let's just want to read it out. We've covered this in some session. Jeremiah 1:56. Jeremiah said, I'm a child, Lord. I can't do this thing that you ask. I am a child. Exodus 3:11. Moses said, I am slow of speech, Lord. That wasn't all he said. Actually, there was quite a discourse that went on between Moses. Let's go there. It says, Genesis 3. No, Exodus, I'm sorry. Exodus 3. Start with 3 and 11. And the exchange has begun, okay, between God and Moses. And Moses said unto God, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? Chapter 4, verse 1. The exchange continues. And Moses answered and said, after God said something to him again, But behold, they will not believe me, not hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. Who do you think you are? Four 10. The exchange continues. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant. But I am slow of speech and of slow tongue. And it continues. And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by thy hand of him whom thou wilt send. In essence, send anybody you want, Lord. Just don't send me. Well, now he's made God angry. After all this exchange, God kept telling him, Moses, I'll fill your mouth. I made your mouth. I made your tongue. Okay. And 14. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. Let's look at another one. Judges 6:11. When he called Gideon, Gideon said, Who am I? Sound familiar?
Yep.
So let us not make excuses. We know that God gets tired of hearing them all the time.